Hello and welcome to Movies in a Nutshell with me, Marc Farquhar.
Myself, Darren Horne.
And I, Paul Day.
Together, we're here to bring you quick, simple, entertaining breakdowns of movies, whether you've seen them or not.
From timeless classics to hidden gems or the latest blockbusters in cinemas, this is your movie safe space.
But unlike most movie podcasts, we're not a review show. That means no endless deep dives, no unnecessary opinions, just value for your time.
If it's a movie you've seen, you will probably learn something new, and if it's a movie you haven't seen yet, we'll help you decide if it's worth your time.
Don't stress if you haven't seen that must-watch classic. We've got you covered with everything you need to know.
Now, there's a moment in every episode where we'll give you the choice. You can pause the podcast, go and watch the movie, come back and join us as we head into Spoiler City, or you can just come with us for the ride. So, grab some popcorn, settle in, and let's dive into this week's movie. Let's discuss In Time. Darren, this was your choice. Let's have a look at the diagnostics. So it's currently available on Prime and Disney if you have a subscription with there. All your usual places to rent or buy. It was released in 2011 at the time, or is it now? I'm not sure which one it was. 12A. I think it's the same. It's 1 hour 49. Stars Justin Timberlake, Cillian Murphy, Amanda Seyfried, Johnny Galecki. The genre is classed as action sci-fi, directed by Andrew Niccol, written by Andrew Niccol, music by Craig Armstrong. Budget was $40 million. It was quite high. It's quite a decent budget, and it took 173.9.
That's good
bad.
to hear. That's fair. That's also enough to warrant a sequel, I would have thought.
You would think so. In most cases, you would think so.
Weirdly, this one passed by me completely, though. I didn't really know much about it.
I vaguely heard of it a couple of years ago, but I don't remember it when it came out or anything about it at all.
So it's good that it did well. It must have found its audience.
Have you got your version of the synopsis?
I can do a synopsis off the top of my head.
Let's go, and then I'll read out the official one, and we'll see which one's better.
In a world where
you have to do the inner world.
In a world.
Yeah,
in a world where currency is time and people are paid in time and buy coffee with time, one man works out that maybe the system isn't as fair as it seems.
I'm invested.
Okay.
It was the voice that did it, though. I don't think it holds up if it was in a normal voice.
And you even did the one man thing as a one man.
Yeah.
In the world.
See, let me just point out right now that Paul is ill, and his voice is not normally
mentally?
that sexy.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's totally the voice, because it wouldn't work. In the future, where time is money and wealth...
I'm less sold now. I'm less sold, yeah.
It's just not the same. Okay, so the official synopsis, it's quite a long one. In a future where time is money and the wealthy can live forever, Will Salas, played by Justin Timberlake, is a poor man who rarely has more than a day's worth of life on his time clock. When he saves Henry Hamilton, played by Matt Bomer, from time thieves, Will receives the gift of a century. However, such a large transaction attracts the attention of the authorities, and when Will is falsely accused of murder, he must go on the run, taking the daughter, Amanda Seyfried, of an incredibly wealthy man with him.
The falsely accused of murder thing isn't even relevant to the plot. That's insane. That he's not being chased because he's been falsely accused of murder. He's being chased because he's got bank. He's got paper. Yeah. He's rich.
I'd much more prefer Darren's
of course.
Summary there.
Any synopsis that says the word however, it's like, nah.
Yeah. To quote you a while ago, why can't they do that correctly?
Yeah, I know, right?
I always think of that when I read a synopsis now.
Because they're marketing experts. They should do it correctly.
At its most basic form, what is this film about?
It's about the meaning of the world that we live in. And I like that idea recently that's been going around that, once you hit $1 billion, you've won capitalism. Stop. You don't get any more money. And that idea that, that dragons hoard gold. And if monkeys hoarded bananas, we'd be like, what's wrong with these monkeys? We need to check them. They clearly got mental illness. And yet we've got humans who hoard money and resources whilst there's people dying on the streets and we step over people. And this movie takes that to an extreme. It's like what, and I think about this a lot in terms of what I'm selling. And I used to say this to my students. I was like, look, you need to do well on this course or in education because you want to get a job that pays you enough money that is going to mean you get out of bed with the person you're currently falling in love with and going to work. Or when you have your first child, they need to pay you enough money to go away from your child. Or even if you get a new puppy. Like, they need to pay you enough money to go out. And then you think about all the costs that add on to that. So, right, so if I've got to travel to work, or how many minutes or hours do I have to work just to break even? And if I buy lunch at the canteen at work, how many hours do I have to work to make sure I'm doing okay? And if my day has been hell and I'm going to buy wine or go to the pub on the way home, I've just undone all the hours I've just given this company. It's this idea of the rich not just taking our money and keeping us under control, they're taking our lives. It's that old system of, it was supposed to be 8 hours work, 8 hours play, 8 hours sleep. We don't have that anymore. It's just you're awake, you're working, or you're doing chores. And it's what has our life become.
And the beauty of this thing is it's everything Darren just said, plus it's this sort of action futuristic thriller with shooting and car chases and stuff. There's definitely I know I say this a lot, but there's definitely levels on this one. So you can
great
take
concept.
So it's that kind of sort of tense thriller, but all the futuristic stuff around the time and the stuff Darren was on about there is really well done, I thought.
The currency is time, not money.
They just pay in time. They pay in seconds. A coffee is 3 minutes or whatever. But that's true. That's what it does cost. If you're paid £60 an hour, I know it's a lot. I'm doing it for the easy maths. That's literally why I'm saying it. And a coffee's £3. That's 3 minutes of your time that took to buy that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the contrast of thinking about all that deeper stuff and then also going like, ooh, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Car chase, action thriller on top of all that. But if you like a bit of a futuristic film as well. But the beauty of this one was, again, I'm not giving anything away, but the design of it and everything, it isn't, if you're not really a science fiction person, because you're thinking, oh, it'll be spaceships and flying things, it's not like that. It's very grounded. So even though it's
gritty and real,
it's set in the future, but it's got them elements of the future that make you really think about the concepts Darren was saying there.
Wait, when is it set? Does it say roughly when it's set?
It's like 2196 or something crazy.
2169. According to IMDb.
That's crazy how close I was.
Yeah, you were on there. I was like, I'm sure that's right. Yeah, 2169.
Okay, so let's see what the grown-ups thought in the ratings and the reviews. So this is where we'll take a cross-section of reviews and see what ratings it got online.
Wrong.
We will find out.
For the purpose of the listener, Darren is shaking his head in
he is
anticipation.
Not looking forward to this. He's not looking forward to this bit. So what we usually do is we take Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and Metacritic. We'll take the critics' review and the sort of users' review, the general published review, and score and see what they said. So, Rotten Tomatoes, the critics' review was 36%, and the users' calm down, Darren, calm down.
I'm just
reading the stats.
I'm as raged as Darren at this. What?
I have to hold him back. These are just the stats. Just you get your chance to get your piece. Don't worry. Okay. So the critics only gave it 36% overall. The users gave it 51%, which is much higher, but still, it's not a higher score. IMDb gave it 6.7 out of 10. Metacritic, the critics' review was 53, and the users was 6.5. Again, I don't know why the critics do it out of 100, the users do it out of 10. That makes no sense, but there we are.
I think that's fair. I think like 6.5, I think that's okay. I think if you're getting down to 3 or 4, that's outrageous.
What did they say, though?
Well, here we go.
Big question.
Here, I've tried to pick a cross-section of what people have thought. I'm sticking to 3, because otherwise it's just too many. So, Joe Newmeyer of the New York Daily said, sadly, for 99% of its running time, this muddled sci-fi is filled... I can see Darren going... It's cringy muddled sci-fi drama is filled with enough overplotting, bad acting, and riddle-speak dialogue to stop a clot. Darren, just hold your horses.
I speak now.
Helen O'Hara, however, of the Empire magazine, interesting ideas and howling anger at the 1% drive in this first half, but the Bonnie and Clyde stylings of the second feel a little rushed and strangely out of sync.
Yeah, that's valid.
Okay. And the big hitter, which we seem to be going for every week now, is Peter Travers of Rolling Stone.
Go on, Pete, don't let us down.
Again, precise, to the point. Pretty cast, potent premise, piss poor execution.
Jesus.
That's a bit harsh from him, to be honest.
I think that's kind of, to a certain extent, valid. I think... The director-writer is a really good writer. He's worked some other great shows. I think Truman Show was one of them. Was it Gattaca? I think he's a really good science fiction writer. He's really good at coming up with ideas and making us think. I'm not sure he should always be given the directorial reins, though.
See, there's another film of his that I really enjoyed called Simone.
Oh, yeah.
That no one else seemed to really like, but
Never heard of that.
I loved it. Yeah, it's Al Pacino, and it's all about it's very relevant these days. It's about an artificial intelligent actress, and I really so when I saw
that a
it
recent film?
No, it was a few years ago now. It's probably 20 years old, maybe something like that.
Wow, okay.
But when I saw it was him doing it, when I was sort of looking at the stats as I was watching it, I was like, oh, yes, because I love The Truman Show. I love that film, Simone, but well invested. So I do like you say, Darren, he's very good at that sort of writing of futuristic sort of stuff.
That's what the grown-ups thought. As we enter into spoiler city, so at this point, you guys listening at home, to decide whether you want to pause this podcast, go and watch the movie, and then come back. So there will be spoilers going forward. Or if you're not that bothered and you don't care about spoilers, then just stay where you are. Okay, so let's go into what did we miss about this film. This is where we'll discuss things that you might have not realised when you watch the film, Easter eggs. Paul's going to have some facts. So let's go. What did we miss, Darren, about In Time?
Okay, well, the thing we miss, or the thing that I think stays with me the most, is it makes you think about how you live. And I think one of the things that's easy to overlook is the line they say a couple of times, you can do a lot in a day. And I think that sometimes I've woken up in the morning.
When you've only got a day to live.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think
when you put that on the end of it, like, oh, yeah.
Right, and I think that's fascinating. Like, what would you do with your final day if you only had a day? And we waste so many days. We just let them go. And I can remember the most vibrant days I've ever had in life have been like when I've woken up early and gone like bodyboarding or something. And then I've maybe gone to the cinema in the afternoon and I'm out with drinks in the evening. And I'm just like, wow, like this morning seems like yesterday because I filled it with so much stuff. And now, is it because we're older, because of the cost of living? It feels like I do less things. And I think if you just had one day left, what would you do? And there's a movie called Young Guns where Billy the Kid tells this joke about people running into a tavern and being like, oh my God, the world's going to end. What are you going to do? And one person's like, well, I'm going to go get a load of whores and I'm going to go do this. What are you going to do? And he's like, well, I'm going to finish the game, because they were playing a game. And there's an outtake on this where they're being chased and they've only got a couple of minutes left in time. And they go through like a Cuban dance street and everyone's dancing and they quickly join in with the dance and put hats on. And the timekeeper's like, did someone come past here? They only had a few minutes on the clock. And he says, no one's got time to dance if they've only got a few minutes left to live. And I think surely that's the only time you would want to live, dance rather.
Absolutely.
Like if you've only got moments left, what would you do?
Something enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the thing that is easy to miss with this is the idea of mortality and what it means and what's exciting. I mean, there's so much actually you can delve into, because how bored do the immortals look like? The people who have hoarded the time and have so much time to do anything that they do nothing. And yet when you've got no time, you try and live it to the limit. And I think probably the first time I didn't quite get the depth of that. And now I'm 47 and I've got a kid and everything's expensive. I just think, wow, time is our best resource.
I agree.
So there's the distinction, like Darren just touched upon there, around the people who have all the time in the world, but they all, when you go to their district, I'm thinking Hunger Games here, but you know what I mean, their area, it's all very miserable and they're all taking the time because they've got that much time to do anything with, but then it's very vibrant in the kind of ghetto. And Justin Timberlake's character is very much like, hey man, I've got a day. And the film starts off with him in that sort of mode of, wouldn't it be great if I woke up with more time than I had hours in the day? And I was the same as you. I started watching it and really started thinking about that time to money scenario. Yeah. And the bit where they're putting the taxes up all the time, so you don't have enough time to pay the taxes.
Or your quota at work keeps going up.
Your quota at work.
So like yesterday, this was enough. No, it's not enough. We need more.
And it's inflation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It, like you say, it's quite on the nose, but it's very effective because of the time switch.
Because that was kind of showing corruption in terms of companies just changing the goalposts.
Yeah.
You're getting paid.
But that also feels like that's happened. We used to be single income households. And then gradually, like another parent would go to work or whatever. So you had double income households. Then conveniently, all the prices go up. So now we basically need double income households to just survive.
It's like food packaging in quantity sizes. Like things have got smaller, but the prices have gone up.
Yeah, chocolate bars.
Chocolate bars, sausage rolls. The meat in the middle is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
The pastry on the outside is the same. Or packets of cereal.
Oh,
I
don't
open
get
a
me
packet of
started on
cereal,
packets of cereal.
and I could put my hand halfway down before I touch any cereal.
I mean, other brands are available, but have you had a Kellogg's variety pack recently? 'Cause there's barely enough
Those are ones with
flakes
little
in
boxes.
one pack to fill a quarter of a bowl.
This gets even worse when you look at countries like America. Can you imagine being like diabetic or something in this world? And you literally have to give moments of your life just to get the medicine to keep you living.
Because they don't have a national health service, so everything has to be paid for.
So I took away all this kind of way, and it's one of the movies. Maybe if you've got that concept, you may walk away just thinking, "Oh, that was a fun futuristic thriller" or whatever. Or it's one of them where if you do get into the concept, you kind of walk away of thinking, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to live.
Yeah.
Because I felt a bit like that after I'd watched it. I was like, I need to start living tomorrow because time is all we've got.
Time is of the essence.
But I did enjoy the general movie making thing. It took me by surprise.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, but then within about 10 minutes I was hooked. And then we're in spoiler zone, so I can say this just to warn you kids out there. But the moment where his mum tries to get the bus, and yesterday it was worth an hour and a half, and she has enough time on her thing to get to work to meet her son, and then they're like, "Oh no, it's 2 hours now." And she's like, "Well, I can't get there in enough time running." And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna have to because
He's like, run.
You got to get running.
she's running and her time just runs out." And that scene was very powerful.
That scene angers me so much. And what angers me the most is that was not resolved. Like at some point, he comes across the same bus driver, doesn't he?
That's right. Later on, in
And
the
I'm
film.
like,
yeah.
I don't know what the reason is. Just kill this guy. Just like he basically killed your mum. He needs to die. But that guy
He
gets.
wouldn't have done that though, I suppose.
But also, this is another thing that's easy to overlook. How many people in bureaucracy or in positions of power like that make small decisions that massively, dramatically impact the quality of life of somebody else?
A lot. They usually make all those kind of decisions that affect people on the ground, even though those people at the top have never been on the ground.
Yeah.
They don't have any idea of the consequences of their decisions. No. They're just making decisions based on numbers,
and then
not people.
Yeah, exactly. And all those people on the bus look at her and then just look away.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's just.
And like, I hope that even if I was on a bus and I saw someone not have enough money, I'd be like, oh, like, here's the extra 50p. Yeah. And none of these people would do it.
I wonder, it seemed like it's just a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
No, everyone's numb to it because it happens all the time. They're stepping in that area where they are.
Early on, they step over a dead body, don't they? They're like, oh, he just timed out. Like, if we could see how close people were to death, like if we could see it, we would surely just give them some of our life.
But then you see it through Amanda's character, don't you? Where she's gone from this privileged background of she turned. We haven't really explained this yet, but obviously, if you've seen the film, you'll understand. But they get to 25, they give them an extra year. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Darren. And then when that extra year's, so they stay at 25 for the rest of their life. So they look in the mirror and they're like, okay, this is what I'm going to look like for the rest of my life. And Amanda's character in it is very rich. Her dad's like super billionaire, wealthy guy.
Dragon.
So she wakes up and she's got all the time she needs. You know, they're basically immortal at this point. But then in the film, she ends up in the slums running around with Justin Timberlake, and you can see her going like, "Oh my! I've only got half of the shock to her system."
She's never had that before,
and then realizing how privileged she was before. And I suppose that's the money analogy, isn't it?
Yeah. It is.
The wealthy people said, "Oh yes, I will buy this," and then when they suddenly don't have money, they realize how much they were maybe wasting, or how much it was worth to someone who doesn't have that much amount of money.
Justin calls her out. I think he says something.
That's
like,
right.
How can you live when this is happening? And she's like, "Oh, you just don't look."
Yeah,
and that's heartbreaking.
It is.
Yeah.
The other thing that's kind of common in particularly vampire movies is this idea that we're not built for immortality. And, the opening is one of the rich immortals basically goes to the slums and he's going to get mugged. And by being mugged, he's going to be killed. All of his time's going to get taken. And Justin Timberlake tries to save him and by doing that gets gifted all this money. And this guy goes and takes his own life. Because he says, we're meant to die. We're not supposed to live this long. And in vampires, particularly Anne Rice, that's what they do. They need to. You can't keep existing because you get out of time with the society that you live in.
How old did you say he was?
I think it was 120, 130 or something.
Yeah, he's like physically I'm fine, but mentally I'm done.
I wrote down one of his lines, which was, "Your mind can be spent even if your body hasn't." And like you say, everyone can't live forever.
And there's some evidence saying that the next generation is going to live like on average to 120, like in our society. And I think are we supposed to be doing that? Like,
Yeah.
I feel tired now.
You've got a few more podcasts left in you, though, Darren.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
crank them out of you.
Yeah.
For me, it's the difference between replacing money with time makes you think about things differently. Go day to day on earning some time rather than earning some money is like what you were saying about being kind and being wanting to help people, whereas we kind of don't do that with money either, but we should. And you think, this person's not just going to run out of money; they're going to run out of life.
Yeah.
it's different. That's the only difference the main difference between it being money and time is it's not just time; it's livelihood, life.
Sure, but it's a growing percentage of kids living like food poverty right now.
Yeah.
Like that's
More than it ever has been.
when you dig deep into this, it really just holds up a mirror to yourself, because we can look at like the Elon Musks and be like, you've got so much money, you could help. But also,
Bill Gates or someone.
Yeah, but I also have more money than people with less than me or almost nothing. And I could probably help more. But I hope we would all do the same.
Yeah, but you don't excess though.
No, I don't.
More than you can spend.
No,
That's the difference with being someone like Elon Musk.
Yeah, exactly. And we all, donate to charity and stuff like that. I'm sure. It's like,
Of course.
we do things.
We always
we
try
can.
and help.
And you picked up that interesting point. That's the core of all of this, which is, well, we have to use our time to go to work to make the money. So they've just kind of bypassed that bit in this film.
Right.
And they just say, no, we're going to work. You summed it up brilliantly before, Darren, where you said, well, how much is it going to take you to go away from your loved ones or your new daughter or puppy or whatever?
Yeah, it could be a relation on their
that's
deathbed.
time.
Like, oh no, I've got to go to work. So if I don't go to work, I can't pay for
Money,
it.
and if I don't pay this, so they kind of bypass all this in this film, and you go, "Oh yeah, this is our life. All right, it's done in a very futuristic way, but is this what we're all doing?" It really
It's
does
also
make you
like
think on a different
some
level.
people, if I don't go to work, I'll die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
I won't come back.
Yeah.
So you're kind of trapped even more.
And I saw this study that most people live paycheck to paycheck. Most of us have no savings. Like, so if we lose our job and don't
And
get a
that
job
is
within a
more
month,
now than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like the poverty line, the bread line's going up and up.
And that's that
up.
cost of living, isn't it?
It's
When
cost
you
of
look
living.
at houses and things like that.
And
Comparison.
they've also have got the district Hunger Game things in this. Like, once he gets the money, he can then move to the richer areas.
Oh, yes.
That's not
It's not that
entirely
dissimilar.
where we are. Like, if you
Yeah.
go to like London, there's I can't remember what it's called, but you go to you go past a certain area and you pay like is it called a congestion charge?
Yep,
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so that's okay for rich people. And then I think about how many laws have we got that aren't laws for the rich, they're laws for the poor, because the punishment is a fine. So
Which will only hit really the poor people.
yeah. So it's like, okay, so the rich can break that without
They
thinking.
just go, I'll just go, I don't care, I'll pay whatever
Pay the fine.
Yeah,
Here's £1 million, I'll just go and do what I want.
right?
Well,
just like-
there's that scene where Justin's, like you say, going to the richer district. And
when he goes to each zone, it's like,
And each zone,
it was
it's an-
10,000 hours. Now it's 100,000 hours to get into this zone.
And even though he's got this big gift of all these hours, he's going, hang on, that just took 4 years off me. And he's welcome to Beverly Hills. Not Beverly Hills, but
welcome
wherever
New
it's-
Greenwich.
New Greenwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, this is what it's like. And like you say, there's going to be places in London where I couldn't afford to shop.
He also buys a really, really fancy car, and I think the salesperson, like, where do you want it delivered to? He's like, delivered. I'm going to drive this. It's like,
People
I'm gonna
only
have
clearly
fun.
buy that to put it on display.
I used to have this theory, and I would break movies down into 3 categories, and it would be movies, and movies are movies that you would watch, that night, that weekend. You might watch it again that year, but then you don't really think about. And then you'd get films, which were a little bit better, and they might last like 10 years. And then you get cinema, and cinema is what passes the test of time. This is probably, a movie. It's like a Friday night movie.
So what's the difference between a movie and a film?
A film is just a little bit more complex, got a little bit more craftsmanship around it.
Is that an internationally recognised thing?
No,
or is
that's
that
just
yours?
my
I was
personal
going to say,
thing.
I was like, I've never heard that before.
Because they're like, was this a good movie? I was like, yeah, it's a great movie. Like Snakes on a Plane is a great movie. Like Lake Placid is, like Sharknado is. It's like, yeah, let's turn our brains off and have fun. Whereas a film would have a little bit more thought. This is probably just, this is somewhere between a movie and a film. It isn't a particularly well-made film. It's got flaws.
Okay.
It was made on a budget.
This is going to be a thing. Okay. Darren's personal rating of was it a movie, a film, or is it cinema?
Yeah, totally.
For me, they all kind of run in. If I enjoy it, I enjoy it.
Really, Back to the Future is cinema.
We get.
But you can enjoy something that isn't cinema. This is what I kind of get frustrated with. I don't know what it is about today in particular, but I get really upset when all these artists tried their hardest. The makeup artists tried hard. The props people tried hard, and then someone comes along and says, "Well, I didn't like it."
Yeah.
Get lost.
That's why I try and find stuff to like in it. Even if I go, okay, it's not my favorite, I'll still go, well, the sets were impressive and this bit was good. I try and always find something good because I know how hard they are to make.
I think it's because the leading role is a musician trying to be an actor. People are all ready to shit on him before they'd even seen it.
Yeah.
So he was already at a disadvantage before he even made the film. I think that's part of it. But yeah, I like these days, I try not to read, if I'm going to, like, especially with this podcast now, if I haven't seen it, I try not to look it up, or I don't want to watch trailers, I don't want to watch any reviews. I just want to watch it as the people who made it intended me to watch it without any preconceived notions. It's so much more freeing, and you're so much more open to the good and the bad, and it's an honest opinion, which I've found that I've not been doing in the past because I've already had outside influence before I've watched something. It's interesting though, like anyone, you guys listening to this, have what we've discussed, does it make you want to watch the film? Did you not watch the film and just jump in? What are you thinking now? I'm intrigued to think what you guys...
Oh, I wonder if they're having these same thoughts. Or they thought the same as the reviewers, that it was just not...
This sounds shit. I'm going to... On to the next episode. Yeah. So yeah, if you have any thoughts, have we made you want to watch the film or not watch the film? Or have you seen the film? What do you think? Let us know. So Paul, have you got any interesting facts on this one?
Okay, so I confess, I haven't watched any behind-the-scenes things and gone into the detail I like to do.
There's hardly any.
However, I have ordered the Blu-ray, so I obviously enjoyed it a lot. So I will be watching the documentary on that in coming time. But in the meantime, to tide us over with some facts, I've gone to IMDb's trusty trivia bit. Direct to trademark, using vintage automobiles in futuristic setting. That is something Andrew Niccol does.
Yeah, some Dodge Chargers and stuff in this film. The cars were nice.
And which makes
Challenger
the car chases
well.
look pretty cool. And like I say, that's why maybe this film would appeal to someone who doesn't particularly like spaceships flying around and things. It's kind of very grounded. One of the things I noticed, which I was saying before, I went down a slight rabbit hole when I was investigating this one. So when he pulls over the car at one point, this blonde lady's in the back that he steals the time from. And I was like, I know that blonde lady. That's the one who plays Simone in Andrew Niccol's film Simone.
Oh, okay.
She plays the virtual lady. So I started Googling or IMDb.
Yeah, what's the connection here? Why is she in this?
Right. Thinking, is that just like a little cameo spoiler? Like, there's Simone. Turns out Rachel Roberts, who plays Simone and was in that cameo, is married to Andrew Niccol. And they have kids together. So I was
That's sweet.
Okay. And I think they got married around the time they did the first film. Many of the characters' names are those of famous and not so famous watchmakers throughout the film. So that's a little hint to the time stuff.
Greenwich Mean Time.
Yes, exactly. In a movie about people who would stop aging at 25 years old, many of the actors, including Justin and Killian, were in the late 20s and early 30s. However, Amanda was really 25 when she filmed it. So she was the only authentic one, technically.
She was also superb in this, I thought.
I thought she was very good.
Yeah, she's very good.
Yeah. Justin Timberlake is actually 3 years older than Olivia Wilde, who plays his mother in the film.
I remember thinking of that at the beginning when I didn't realise. I was like, that's his mum.
That was the first bit that pulled me in. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. During filming, Justin Timberlake tore his calf while running, causing production to be paused a week while he recovered.
There was a lot of running in this movie.
There was a lot of running.
They reckon that there was more running than Run Lola Run and Forrest Gump, or something along them lines. Body count, 13. Apparently.
Okay.
And there was obviously the little nod to Dr. No when he was at the gaming table doing the whole
doing the poker.
Salis kind of poker game. And the writer-director, Andrew Niccol, has called his 2011 film In Time a bastard child of Gattaca.
Cool.
So hopefully that's enough facts for you there.
Thanks for that. We need a name for that. If anyone's got any ideas what we can call Paul Day's top facts. Top of the day. That's all I've got so far. Anyone got any?
We can just call it facts.
We need a day pun. Surely.
Sure.
Surely.
Facts of the day is probably your closest.
Yeah. Anything you all need to add?
Well, it's more of a takeaway, I guess, because I just think about with Christmas coming up, we're obviously going to start buying presents for loved ones. And now I'm thinking, do they really deserve an hour of my life?
Ouch.
Actually, it's going to be more than an hour of my life for some people. It's going to be like 3 hours. It might be half a day.
That leads us into the test of time.
Nicely.
This is where we look at what would happen if this... I mean, this was 2011.
I know, which feels like fairly
What would happen
recently,
if they tried to release it today?
I don't think the Stockholm Syndrome nothing would hold up. So the idea that he can basically kidnap her, put a gun to her head, and then within a day or two, she's fallen in love.
She was surprisingly okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a person who's been incredibly sheltered. Like, she was scared to go skinny dipping because you go in the water.
To be fair, we did get to the point that she was looking to rebel anyway.
Yeah.
And when she did, there was the eye contact between the two, and she did like him. So the fact that he's done that, maybe that's why
it did have that Romeo and Juliet thing, wasn't there? Like, oh, I'm from the other side of the tracks.
She'd been looking for someone like that.
Yeah.
Clearly, some sort of break from the routine, or the spell, or the sort of, I don't know what you call it, cocoon that she's been living in.
To go for being under the gun to strip poker in a couple of scenes, like you say, is
like,
oh, okay, that happened.
So do you think, what would be the main drawbacks of this film today? What would anything not pass?
Other than that, I think it's solid.
Yeah, the themes is more solid now than ever.
Yeah, I think it reigns true more than it did in 2011.
I think you would also broaden the scope now. I think you would have people dying in hospital beds because they can't afford the time to
treatment.
I mean, they already have that in various countries, America, where the insurance isn't coming through. So what's going to happen? I don't understand how this is civilization. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I didn't. When I was thinking about this, there wasn't too much I thought, oh, that wouldn't hold up today, or...
No, I don't, because they've done it in a timeless way, haven't they? So it's not looking very
kind of
aged.
Ambiguous.
Yeah.
I know I say it kind of every podcast, but I think you'd have a bit more diversity with this one. Like, you get one of the timekeepers was an African American, I think.
That's right. Yeah. His partner, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Johnny.
There was a mixed race relationship, though.
That was good, but just a small part. It would be. I just like seeing more diversity. It would be grand.
Yeah.
No, it felt to me that if you brought it out, like you were saying, I think it might hit harder, like now, than it maybe did back then, just because of the things in our current.
Was it 14 years old? 2011 sounds 13 years old, so it's not. It's actually that much time, but a lot has changed.
A lot
in our
happens
world
in a decade,
in that
doesn't
time.
It?
So there was technically a cost of living crisis.
Yeah.
In this film, but it was a cost of it was time. It was basically time. Yeah, everything was going up, but they weren't receiving the time that they were forcing to pay out. I think we've covered that.
Yeah.
So, worth a watch. It is your film choice.
Oh, nice. I never plan what my worth a watch is going to be.
So this is going to be basically, it's Darren's film choice. So whoever's film choice it is, they're going to recommend something that we watch. It could be a TV program, it could be a movie, it could be a documentary. What have you got for us, Darren?
Yeah, I sometimes get tempted to do TV, but I actually want to kind of stick with this theme, really, because I think movies like this are often quite mid-budget. Like, it doesn't feel like they're ever going to put it on a massive stage to be like, we should pull down the system. And there's things that are kind of doing that. Like the Star Wars TV show Andor's kind of doing that at the moment, and it was a big call to action, but it's still quite a niche program. Hunger Games is the biggest film I've ever seen that does it. Here we go. This movie is called Equilibrium, and it's with Sean Bean and Christian Bale. It's a world where emotions have been stunted. So it's gone the kind of, not 1984 way, but the more kind of Brave New World way, where everyone wakes up and they take a pill and it suppresses their emotions. So because there's no emotions, there's no hate or war or violence. And they've said, we nearly destroyed ourselves as a society. So now we take this drug and now everyone's functional. But it means that anything that makes you feel is outlawed. So like pets are outlawed because they make you feel, and puppies and kittens and art and music and all these wonderful things are outlawed. And Christian Bale is basically an enforcer. So his job is to find out what I think they're called, like sense criminals or something. They've started to feel. And Sean Bean is his partner. And they go, and I guess the trigger is he drops his medicine and he's meant to pick up another pack, but then there's a queue, so he doesn't, and so gradually he starts to feel, and it's this person realizing what it means to be alive and how messy being alive is and how painful being alive is, and what's better, to be numb but functional and everyone get on, or is it better to feel and
have the highs and the lows,
Contrast. And be heartbroken, but also I love movies like that. V for Vendetta does it a little bit, where they again outlaw lots of art and music because it makes you feel. And I think this is kind of common in real life and in movies with totalitarian governments. They go after the artists first because it's the artists that make you feel.
It's currently available. It says it's not available to stream free on any subscription. So it's
then I
to
get
rent
conspiracy
on YouTube,
theories. So why don't they want you to see
Amazon,
it?
All to pay for, to rent or to buy.
You'd
Or,
pick
of course, it may also be available on physical media.
Yeah, it's probably for 50p.
My
of
bad,
course.
man.
You could probably pick it up for £2 on a DVD or something.
Probably 50p in a charity shop.
That brings us to the end of the show, apart from next week's choice.
Okay.
What we're doing, where we're going, what we're doing.
I think because we've done sort of a retro classic and sort of a more modernist one, I think we need something new. I think we need something that's just come out. And
I'm liking where this is going.
I think we need a bit of musicalness going on.
Okay.
And I think it's probably going to be one of the biggest films of the year, so we probably need to get on it. So I think we need to go Wicked in. I think we need to go see Wicked.
Okay.
Part 1. I think it's. I think this is the first act. I haven't seen the musical.
Interesting.
I don't know, but I believe this is part 1 of it.
Isn't it like 3 hours?
It's pretty long.
Shit.
It's pretty
Okay.
long, but
Hang on, wait a minute. This means we've got the cinema.
we need a cinema trip.
Oh, okay.
But I've heard good things about it.
This is completely outside of my wheelhouse. It's
Well,
not something I would go and watch.
I
but
I do love a musical. So.
this is what we signed up for.
Yeah, totally.
Go on.
Don't let the look of disgust on my face make you think that I'm not looking forward to this.
If anything, this podcast is making me more open-minded about movies.
Well, I love a musical. I love The Wizard of Oz, and I even liked Oz the Great and the Powerful, which
I almost wish I didn't know it was a musical when I go and see it.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because that's going to...
that's the bit that's putting you.
Because traditionally, any musical I've seen so far, I've not been into.
You've never enjoyed any musical.
No.
Like
But
The
having said all
Magicians
that,
and Buffy.
I'm totally up for going to cinema.
Diametrically opposed foes. Hamilton fans in the house.
We are going to cinema, the three of us.
let's do this.
We're going to watch this, and I'm going with a
For
complete
3
open mind.
hours.
It's got Jeff Goldblum.
I love
it?
Jeff
You know,
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum's in it. Yeah.
As what character?
Who do you think Jeff? Will
I'm not
play?
going to... Don't tell me
Oh.
anything. I don't want to know
Okay, no
anything.
spoilers.
I'm
We
not
can
going to
tell
read
you.
anything. I'm not going to see a trailer. I'm not going to see anything. I'm just going to go to cinema with you guys and
Okay.
watch a film.
Jeff Goldblum's not a real human being.
He's beyond. He's beyond human.
He's something else.
He
It's an
is.
institution, is that guy.
But he's in there, so if he's in it, I'm invested. But it's going to be the film of the. It's going to be one of the biggest films of the year. So I feel like let's put that on our radar.
And
I
it
like
looks
throwing some musicalness.
Excellent.
And I like this kind of structure we've got, like a recognized classic, a cult kind of thing that people haven't
Something
seen,
brand
and then
new.
something
So
new.
what's the
Yeah.
other choice? Is that the listener choice? He says leading Mark back in to say.
Well, this is what people need to...
Yeah.
If you guys listening would like us to break down a particular movie, what's your favourite movie that you'd love to have broke down? Like, you'd like to learn something new about it? Or would you like us to throw us a curveball? Imagine
we
picking
will
something...
chat about it.
A film that we have not... Neither of... If you could... I'd love for our listeners to pick something that neither of us have seen.
Mm-hmm.
Or just the joy of us breaking down their favourite film.
Yeah, and we don't mind doing like movies from the 40s. We don't mind doing more world cinema. I think at the moment, because we're early on, we're going for films that are kind of familiar to us, like basically boy films. And
I'm going to force them into some romantic comedies at some point.
Yeah.
So-
Well, as we go along, we each get our own choice. Plus, there's also listener choices. Every month, one of us three will choose a film, and so will you guys at home.
Yeah.
So get messages. Our email is hello@moviesinanutshell.com. Our contact details are in the show notes. You can find us. Send us a message. Tell us what you'd like us to break down, and we will sift through. We'll pick out. We maybe even do a poll online. Once we get a few of the same movies, we can put them head to head, see which one votes, and then we'll do it.
cool. Sounds good.
Okay, so next week, Wicked. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm happy and scared at the same time.
He loves
What
a
if
musical.
the main thing I'm scared about? What if I like it? No, I'm totally open-minded. I'm looking forward to it. So, thanks for listening, guys. As always, please share the show. We're just new. We're new kids on the block. We feel like we've got something. We're really enjoying doing this. So, the best way you can help us right now is to just tell people about the show, share it, social media, anyone, just even word of mouth. Just if you can think of one person who would like this show or this particular episode, tell them about it. Send them a link. Also, if you've got any questions, any movie-related stories, if we get the best ones, we will read them out on the show. What would you like us to break down? Get in touch with us. All our details are on the show notes, and we will see you all next week. From me, Mark, saying goodbye.
Yeah, for me, Darren saying, I wanted to quote something from this movie. But I don't have time.
Isn't that his job?
What would you do if you had as much time as I had? Something like that. Isn't that what he said?
I thought you were going to say you can do a lot in a day or something.
Oh yeah,
That's
that'd be
the
better.
line.
Yeah, that'd be better. You do that one. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, Paul.